welcome back to the dinner table. I am your host as always, Nick. I am joined by my father.
Hello.
Uh, to this week, we're doing something a little different than what we normally do. Lately, it's been a lot of music.
Yeah.
We need a little refresher. So this for the next probably couple of weeks, I'd say probably a couple of weeks.
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. We're doing James Bond. Next to Star Wars, probably one of the most important franchises in cinema, I think.
Well, there's certainly a lot of movies.
Yeah,
I
think James Bond has got to be it. 23, I think, total, wasn't there?
20. I count 26.
26? Okay, that's including the one.
27 if you count the spoof one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. Well, actually, the name of it is Casino Royale.
Casino, yeah. But the real Casino Royale is an excellent movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, I like it.
And best. Oh, hold on here. Mom's plowing through. Okay, she's good now. So how we're going to do this list, we're going to start with Sean Connery, the original Bond. We'll probably go in order as Bonds, I'm assuming, or grouping.
Yeah, or grouping some of them, because they're like George Lazenby only did one movie, and Timothy Dalton only did two.
Yeah.
So we'll have to group some of them.
So, yeah, we'll fit them together there.
But Sean Connery did 7, so...
And Roger Moore did 6, I count, unless I double. Nope, he did 7 as well. But we will start with the original. I think it's the original. On my list, it was number 1.
Dr. No?
Dr. No.
Yeah, mine too. It's number 1
for Sean Connery.
The number 1 Sean Connery movie, not necessarily the number 1 Bond movie.
No, but it's the
number 1 Sean Connery.
That is my favorite of the Sean Connery ones.
The very first one from 1963, I think, something like that.
62. 1962.
Yeah.
It was his first outing as James Bond. It's a little hokey, a little goofy. The guy with wooden hands. I think they were wooden hands.
Yeah.
I couldn't really tell. Lived underwater and all that.
Yeah, that was Dr. No.
Dr. No, yeah. And and the terrible acting, really, of the Bond girl in it. She wasn't a very good actress, but she was a beautiful woman. Anders?
Ursula Anders.
Yeah, Ursula Anders. She's a beautiful woman, as all Bond women usually are. But, yeah, not a really good actress. Of course, at the same time, they didn't exactly give her lines to be a fantastic actress.
And they had a low budget for this one, because, I don't know, maybe they were trying the concept out and see how it worked. I'm not sure. But it was kind of a low budget. Special effects weren't very good.
No.
But I think it's a good movie. I enjoy watching it.
It's fun. Yeah. It's very fun. It's not as comical as we'll get into later in the weeks as some of the Roger Moore ones I found are a little bit kind of clownish.
Yeah.
His are not. I mean, they're goofy, but they're very goofy. And some of the one-liners in there, you're like, really? But it's still an excellent. I don't know. I've always enjoyed it. That's one I can put on almost all the time.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm not sure what to watch, I want to watch James Bond. Dr. No's a good choice.
Dr. No's always a good choice. And there's a couple Sean Connerys that usually, for me, are always a very good choice.
Yeah.
And just solid movies all the way around. So, yeah, number 1 on mine, number 1 on yours. Yeah, I kind of figured that would be, I had that feeling.
First couple of times I watched it, I didn't care for it,
really?
But it kind of grew on me. And I kind of realized that, this is the first of the franchise, and it's,
it's the tone setter.
And they do a pretty good job.
And they kind of learn from all their mistakes, too. They eventually kind of got better. And it's, I grew up, my first Bond movie for me was Octopussy. So for me, it was always Roger Moore.
Yeah.
And when I saw some of the, especially when I was younger, I saw some of the old Sean Connery ones. I'm like, this is old. This is lame. I'm a kid, I didn't. And I thought, this is kind of stupid. I'm not into this. Everybody told me Sean Connery's the best Bond and all that. I'm like, yeah, it's old, But now as an older, middle-aged man, I'm much more appreciative of it. And I get why they love Sean Connery so much. He is very good in the role. Always has been.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
most, yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
We're not done yet.
Yeah, there's a couple of duds in here, but we'll get to those.
Well, next on the list is for his second movie, 1963. It is amazing how quickly they turn these
Yeah, I know they're
around.
cranking these out once a year for 4 years.
You look at the Craig ones; they're 2 to 3 years apart. And they're just cranking these things out in England. 1963 is from Russia with Love.
Mm-hmm.
Where's it on yours?
Number 4.
Number 4 is number 3 on mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was hard for me to rank this one because 2, 3, and 4 for me are.
That's my problem.
Actually, 2, I know what 2 is, but 3 and 4 I had a little problem with.
Oh, really?
So
yeah.
I put this one at number 4. I don't
remember as much of it as I thought I would, but yeah, I do. I remember the KGB agents were the the Austin Powers joke when Frau Farbisma came.
Yeah,
that's her spoof character is in there. She has she tries to kick him with the blade in her shoe.
Yeah,
and that's where they brought in a lot of the crazy gadgets and all the cute stuff.
Well, they had a little bit bigger budget because Dr. No was kind of successful and made money, so they thought, well, this might work, And the plot is pretty good. They, of course, Russians are involved. It's a Cold War,
mm-hmm.
And they steal they're searching for a Russian decoding machine before the bad guys get it.
Yeah.
The bad guys being Spectre.
Yeah.
Which throughout the whole Bond franchise, Spectre's in and out of the stories.
Is a big.
I can't remember what Spectre stands for.
I used to.
Yeah,
I don't anymore.
I just don't remember.
And now I think they didn't even in the Daniel Craig ones, they didn't even acronym it. They just said Spectre. Yeah. So I think they just kind of threw the whole acronym away anyways. But I liked it. I always liked that one. It was fun. Again, Sean Connery's fun. It was a little bit tonally a little bit more serious, but of course, he's got all the Bond girls, all of his girlfriends in there.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
He's got to sleep with the double agent girl and and she tries to kill him and got to have the cool chase scene up to to go meet one of the ladies. She calls in her guys to try to drive him off the road. And he ends up, of course, wins. His Bond, and but it's a good movie. It's a lot of fun. Again, it's James Bond. A lot of these I don't go for I don't watch a lot of James Bond for a lot of highbrow stuff. But at the same time, they got to have certain formula for me, and they got to have a good solid guy at Bond and lead.
Yeah, I've always liked James Bond movies. Well, the first one I saw was in the 70s. I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I kind of went back over the years and watched pretty much. I'm sure I've seen them all.
Oh, yeah.
Close to it anyway. And they're fun to watch. I think they're fun movies.
They're just entertaining Saturday night. I have no idea what I want to do or watch. I'll just throw on one of these, and I know I will be entertained at the end of even the bad ones. Like, God, this is so. You're entertained by how bad it is. It's like, wow.
But the plot of this one's good, and I'm not sure why I had it number 4. I think I get bored through parts of it.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. The story is maybe not as good as. As maybe Dr. No or the next one we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know that the story was that good, but yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to watch a Bond movie, it's okay.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I had that one as either 3 or 4. I could have interchanged those. I think
I had it as 3. I don't know why I put it up as 3. I think it's because I always confuse that one with the Roger Moore's The Spy Who Loved Me.
It's basically the same story.
It's the same, yeah. And I think that's why I was like, it is both of those. And what's funny is I love The Spy Who Loved Me. I love that. That's one of my favorite Bond movies. And then I always confuse. And I'm like, oh wait, no, this isn't the Sean Connery one, or this isn't the Roger Moore one. That's this one, I think. And I always end up with a little bit of disappointment when I pick the wrong one, But at the same time, it's still probably one of his best.
Yeah, a lot of people rank it as number 2.
Really?
In the Bond, of the Sean Connery.
And no kidding. Yeah, I can see it. I mean, personally, I think this one is number 2. I'm going to move us forward to Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, number 2.
Yeah, that one and that one was a tough one between that and Dr. No.
Yeah,
I went back and forth.
just a crazy good movie. I think
Oh,
it's
it
just
is.
awesome. Yeah.
No, I wish you to die.
Yeah,
You
James
know?
Bond is he's tasked to find uh somebody's stealing or hoarding, I guess, gold bars.
Mhm.
And turns out it's this guy Yorick Goldfinger. And he's going to break into
Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. And this was back when we were still on the gold standard, and there was actually gold in Fort Knox
Hmm.
that our money was based on,
Hmm.
which is probably the way we should still do it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a whole nother
you know,
subject, but yeah, I
yeah,
get
we
it.
could do a podcast on that, but, you know.
We could.
And he was going to break into Fort Knox. And anyway, James kind of sort of accidentally discovers this. He thought, I think he thinks at first that Goldfinger's kind of mostly harmless.
Yeah, yeah, you kind of
And
get
he
that feeling.
kind of gets the drop on him and figures out that, hey, he's going to break into Fort Knox to steal all the gold.
Yes.
So they need to stop that because it would destroy the whole world's economy.
Oh yeah,
And that was,
and
and
and let's just be honest, that is the best freaking Bond girl ever.
oh, Pussy Galore.
Pussy galore.
I love that.
My favorite part to this day is when she does something and he's, oh, Pussy. You know?
No, oh, that's Scottish.
Yeah. It's just like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's okay.
It's
Here we
quite a
go.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is. I love
Of
it.
course, there's Odd Job
Mhm.
throwing his hat around and
That's the toughest hat in the world.
yeah,
Cutting wires,
cutting wires and all
Just-
kinds of stuff.
just messing up the whole world. I mean, that is.
And
I do love that movie. I mean, I could watch that again. We gotta watch
Yeah,
that
we're gonna
again
have to
here.
watch that.
Yeah, it is one of
Yeah,
my
that's a good
favorite
one.
James Bonds, and it's one of the Sean Connery ones where a lot of the Sean Connerys I watch them so much, I've seen them so much that I can just get up and go do things. But that one I always sit and watch.
Yeah,
That one and
that's
Doctor
good.
No, and I don't know what it is with that's different. I think it's just everything about that one was just a good movie. I think they kind of hit
I
their
mean, they hit all the
stride.
marks too for a good James Bond movie. You know, you got the beautiful women and the action and the, all the gadgets and
Mhm.
all the, I think it's almost perfect.
Yeah, for a Bond. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's there.
It's good. It's a good movie. I like
I
it.
do. I love it.
That one was number two, a strong number two.
Yeah, yeah, it was either going to be one or two on mine, and I went with Doctor No over it because to me it was probably equally as good of a movie in most cases, but that one was the starter.
It may be better than Doctor No,
Yeah,
in truth, but Doctor No to me has got that nostalgic
yeah,
first James Bond thing, and I don't know, I just kind of like it.
yeah. It's the
A
thing
little
that
bit
kicked
better.
off everything,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
but you could tell the budget definitely increased with Goldfinger.
Yeah.
They definitely the English figured it out and said, all right, United Artists was like, okay, let's put some money into this and make some money on it.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good one.
Now, a lot of people argue with me on this one as their favorite is Thunderball.
But I got that one as number three.
Yeah, I have it as number four, 1965. Again, Sean Connery.
Yep.
He was hitting a stride, and to me, again, once you get into to really From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, and Thunderball, once you get he hit a stride. If you ask me,
Yeah,
they were just like, okay, we know what we're doing now. We're good, and it's a great movie. It's number four for me, but not because it's bad. It's just
yeah, I had that one as number three. It's one of my favorites. It's one
Mhm.
of those I could watch anytime. It's got a good plot. Somebody steals a couple of nuclear warheads. Spectre, of course.
of course always.
And he ends up in the Bahamas trying to find them. These things for some reason I don't remember the whole plot, but they end up in the Bahamas. Beautiful scenery.
Oh yeah.
It's a beautiful place. Been to Nassau, which is where they filmed it,
Mhm.
and it's a great place. And the whole lot of underwater fight scenes and things
Oh
like
yeah.
that.
So it was
and,
ridiculous. Yeah.
It's I think it's a really good Bond movie. A lot of again, it hits all the strides. You got the beautiful Bond girl and
Oh yeah.
the menacing Spectre and
What-
Russians, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Now the Russians aren't involved in this one.
Oh, they're not. I don't
Yeah.
quite remember. I
The
had to
Bond
look it up
girl,
again.
Claudine
Yeah, yeah.
Auger is her name, and her name in the movie is Domino. She was Ms. France
Yes.
in 1958.
Yes. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
They did it right. They knew they had to they knew how to bring the gentleman in.
Yeah.
Bring in the
No, I
lovely
like this.
ladies.
The underwater battle was really good at the end. And of course him and the Bond girl end up in a raft, and
Oh yeah.
You know, and ignoring everybody's trying to rescue him and all this stuff. You know, it's got a good ending. You know, and it's I think it's one of the better overall James Bond movies.
Yeah.
I think, you know, we're not really ranking these against
Each other.
yet.
Yeah,
Maybe we
yeah. I think I'd like to, but I would have
but-
to really, really refresh myself to give a definitive list like
yeah,
that.
but this is just the Sean Connery ones, and I got this one as the third best Sean Connery one.
Yeah, mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably, I mean,
I was going back
James
and
Bond
forth too.
aficionados will argue with me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What's what? And in fact, I have gotten in arguments with
Have you?
yeah at work. You know,
No
we had some
kidding.
James Bond aficionados, and we'd argue over the best, who was the best Bond, and which ones are the best movies, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And
My opinion is growing in popularity, though. Everybody said I was crazy at first.
yeah, yeah. Well, this was the one too, wasn't it? With oh no, that's a different one. Never mind. I'm ahead of myself here. But yeah, from Russia with it, yeah. Thunderball's a good one.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah. And then you have 1967s. Again, well, this one they took 2 years to do.
Yeah.
I gave them a break. 1967's You Only Live Twice, which I don't remember that well.
I do, and I didn't like it.
You didn't like
No,
it? Yeah,
this
it's number
one was,
5 on mine.
It's number 6 on mine.
It's number 5 because the one that is number 6 I can't stand.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never liked that one. But it's number 5 for that reason. 'Cause it is a very unmemorable Bond for me. I know a lot of people probably like it. I don't know. I looked up the trailers for it, like refreshed it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. I don't like this
Yeah,
one.
this is
Yeah.
the one where during the Cold War again,
Mm-hmm.
the U.S. and the Soviet Union each lose a spaceship,
Yep.
and they get sucked up into this big space.
Oh yeah, ridiculous.
It's
Yeah,
kind of ridiculous, and I can't remember who steals the Spectre. I suppose
probably. Yeah.
I can't remember who steals them, but of course the James Bond's got to go find them, and it's Blofeld. That's
It-
where they bring in the bad guy Blofeld.
Yeah,
who
he's
is-
in charge of Spectre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is Spectre, or he is the main guy.
and they end up in Japan, and James Bond kind of turns Japanese or something, you know, and the whole thing is
Oh,
kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah. Where they there's a TV show called Venture Brothers. They do a joke about it,
Yeah.
and the whole time Dr. Venture is sitting there like with his eyes all stretched out. And it's the most racist thing in the world. But like I know if they're spoofing. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't care for this one because of that, the whole Japan thing,
yeah,
and James Bond or Sean Connery, he kind of sleepwalking through this one.
Mm.
I had read that he really didn't want to do this movie, but he was under contract, I think, for 5 movies,
okay,
and this was number 5, right?
yeah.
So he was just kind of like
Which explains why I really dislike the next one.
he's
But,
he's
yeah.
just kind of sleepwalking through it, and he didn't really want to do it. And I think to all the movie studios, I know nobody listens to us, but to
Yeah.
anybody from a movie studio, when your main actor in a series like this says, "I don't want to do it anymore," just stop.
Just don't make them do
Because
it. Find
just
someone
get
new.
bad.
Yeah,
Just get bad.
Reboot.
You know, and
Disney's favorite word, reboot.
yeah, and in this one, I think that may be the case. He wasn't really into it.
Yeah,
And you can watch it and see that it's just like, you know, I get bored with it.
yeah. I
You know,
don't think I've ever finished it.
it's kind of hard to get bored with a James Bond movie because there's so much action. But
Mm.
this one will put me to sleep. I mean, I don't care for it at all. So You Only Live Twice is off my list.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched it in 10, 15 years. You know, I'll watch
Yeah.
a Bond movie frequently. I'll watch one, but you know,
It has been a while
it's been a
for
long
me.
time.
Yeah,
I've seen this one, and I really, really probably won't ever watch it again. I don't know.
well, the next one is 1971. So they were actually, I think this is where Connery was done, and they begged him to come back.
Yeah.
71, Diamonds Are Forever, which I cannot stand. I hate that movie.
I had it as number 5.
Did you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a weak number 5. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't care for it. A lot of the James Bond fans said it was too American.
I guess so.
It takes
Yeah.
place in Las Vegas,
Yeah, it does.
and you got some diamond thieves.
You got those weird, creepy
There's
twin
yeah,
guys.
Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd.
Yeah, it's
Those two
freaking
guys that
creepy.
are, you know, and of course, Blofeld's involved in this one too.
Oh yeah.
And so they're stealing diamonds, but the diamonds don't show back up on the market or something. It's kind of a weak plot to begin with,
Hmm.
and they send Bond out to find out where these diamonds, who's smuggling them and whatever, and they end up in Las Vegas. The Bond girl is one of the most annoying.
Mm.
I don't know her name.
I don't either. She was, yeah, the
Jill St. John, isn't it?
was it redhead?
Yeah,
Yeah, she was
yeah. She
irritating.
is really irritating through the
Yeah,
movie, and in the, being in Las Vegas, there's just, if you've never been to Las Vegas, first of all, don't bother.
yeah,
And it's not that exotic.
no,
It's all fake. And in the 60s, 1960 or 1971, I'm sorry, early
yeah.
70s, it was probably even worse.
That's
You
when the mob
know,
ran it.
yeah,
At least it was
yeah,
clean back then.
yeah, at least it was clean. But yeah, I don't like Vegas, so I've been there like 4 or 5 times, and every time I go, it was always on the government dime because there's an Air Force base there, and we used to do a lot of exercises out of there. So we'd go to Vegas.
Mhm.
We usually stayed in off the strip motels or something because they didn't have rooms on the base for us. And Vegas, it's kind of fun. It's okay, but I won't go on a vacation there.
Mm-mm.
Maybe I'm just too old for it or something. I don't know. But
There's many other vacations I'd
they've
rather.
got all these people that walk around the Paris hotel there or the New York, New York. And by the time you spend all this money and buy all this food and shit there, just go to freaking Paris
Or New York,
or New York.
yeah,
I mean, go see the real Eiffel Tower.
yeah,
I mean,
and the real
instead,
Statue of Liberty.
yeah, instead of the phony one. But so to me, the movie's a dud. It's really kind of a
Yeah,
dud.
I remember when Matthew and I first saw it when we were kids. I'm 9 years older than Matt, so I was a teenager and he was a kid. We watched that and he just stops and goes, "Those twin guys are creepy."
They were creepy.
They were just
Mr.
so,
Wint and Mr. Kidd.
yeah,
Um, they're deadly. I mean,
yeah.
they leave a trail of destruction, but they're just, I don't know. The whole movie's kind of hokey.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah,
And even the theme song wasn't very good. I didn't
I
even
don't
like
even
the,
remember the
yeah,
theme
it's like
songs.
Diamonds Are Forever. This weird Bond openings.
Yeah,
Goldfinger was
he
was a
almost
classic one.
he ends up in a funeral home and almost gets cremated and somehow busts his way out of there,
Yeah,
and that was at the beginning of the movie.
yes it was.
Yeah, so it kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But usually they put him in the easily escapable death, like mid movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they started right away because I think they didn't have anything. So like, oh, we got to do our pre-credits thing. They always have their opening weird, insane action. And like Pierce Brosnan saving the airplane. We watched with Goldeneye last week, and him saving the airplane out of that. Just not how airplanes work.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah,
whatever, it's fun. Who cares?
yeah, it was. Yeah, that was okay. We'll get to that one here
Oh yeah, we
next
will.
week or something. But yeah,
Uh,
yeah, Diamonds Are Forever is. I had it at number 5. Could have easily been 6 or 7.
mhm.
I mean, not good. I
No.
don't care for it.
And what is interesting is the last Bond was 1983 for Sean Connery, right in the middle of the Roger Moore. So for about a year there, we had two.
There was 2 released in 1983. One was
Yeah,
Roger Moore's, one was Sean Connery. I
yeah,
don't remember why they did that.
yeah. Never say never again.
Never say never again.
I rated that one 7.
Yeah, me too.
I don't like that
Yeah, I
one,
don't like it at all. It's a remake of Thunderball.
which they should have just left alone.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why they remade that movie. They were trying to do it on the cheap, I think,
Mhm.
and it's not considered an official Bond movie because it was released by a different studio.
Oh, okay. So it's not a United
So they
Artists.
gave Sean Connery, I suppose, a truckload of money to come back and do this remake of Thunderball, which he did. And I think Octopussy probably beat it at the box office.
Yeah, I would
I would
imagine. Yeah,
because it's not a very
that
good
is a
movie.
much better movie.
Yeah, and it's just a direct remake. I mean, the plot is exactly the same. Well, only this time they're Tomahawk cruise missiles. They updated it a little bit. Instead of just nuclear bombs, they're Tomahawk cruise missiles. And NATO's held ransom, and they reactivate the 00 agents because they were on sabbatical, I guess, or
Oh,
put him
okay.
away. And of course, James Bond came back,
Yeah,
you
always
know,
does.
and Sean Connery came back as James Bond because they reactivated the Double O agents, and off they went to basically do the same thing they did in Thunderball.
Hmm.
You know, was go to the Bahamas and find the friggin' missiles.
Yeah,
You know, and they have the same underwater fight scenes. They have the same,
that's kind of
you
funny.
know,
Yeah,
different actors. I think for the Bond girl, I don't know who does it. Rowan Atkinson's in it though, Mr. Bean.
yeah.
You know,
Isn't he Q in that?
don't remember.
So I think that's one of the things that people were annoyed with because the actual
Some
Q
guy
was
named
at
Alec McCowan.
Octopussy that year.
Desmond Llewellyn was the original Q, and this guy's named Alec McCowan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I
So they had a
don't.
different Q and everything. Yeah. Yeah, I just know, I've seen it once when I was a
He
kid.
plays a guy named Nigel Small Fawcett. Really,
Yeah.
Nigel Small Fawcett.
Oh,
I mean, you know,
it's
how
like
corny.
Ivana on the top.
Yeah, I know. Or Pussy Galore.
Or Pussy Galore.
But yeah,
For sure.
it's not a very good movie. Don't care for it.
No.
Got the underwater action, which is really the same as the other one.
Yeah. Just
Only,
watch
only,
Thunderball. It's a
only
better
James
movie.
Bond's a
Yeah.
little older. You know, Sean Connery's a little older.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people wanted Sean Connery to come back for more, but he was already done with that shit. I mean,
Well, I think that's what happened with
yeah,
Diamonds Are Forever because George Lazenby was the 1969. He was that in between
yeah,
67 and 71 because where You Only Live Twice came out in 67 and then 71 was Diamonds Are Forever. George Lazenby was Bond in between that in
yeah. On Her
1969.
Majesty's Secret
Yeah.
Service, we might as well talk about that one.
Yeah, we can because it's a single one. It's in that era.
Yeah, and it's not ranked because it's the only one George
Yeah.
Lazenby ever acted in, and I think it's a pretty darn good movie.
Yes.
I haven't seen it for a long time, but basically it's the story about how James Bond's wife was killed,
No, okay. So it's
which
like,
comes into play on some of these movies that
mhm.
from time to time is the lost. I think one of the Daniel Craig ones, didn't he go to her grave? I think, or maybe it was
No,
one
that's
of
his
the,
parents' grave.
or maybe it was one of the Roger Moore ones, or
Yeah,
something
Skyfall
like that.
kind of covers more of the Bond as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they really bring in all the Spectre stuff.
But anyway, in one of the later movies, he goes and visits his wife's grave, and I can't remember which one.
I can.
I'd have to Google that and figure it out. But I think it's a good movie. George Lazenby as Bond. I don't know why they didn't continue with him. He was okay. I mean, it was a good movie.
guess following up Sean Connery on it is just so different because he was very
Could
different.
be, yeah.
He's a big athletic guy, and Sean Connery wasn't. Sean Connery's in good shape. He's athletic, but he's not. He wasn't nearly as bulked up as Lazenby was, if I remember.
Yeah.
And I saw this movie once so long ago that it
I
is
saw it a
one
long
that I
time
do
ago.
want
I
to sit
haven't
down
seen
and
it recently.
watch again.
It's probably worth watching again because it is a pretty good, darn good movie.
Yeah, I have to sit down and watch that one
But
again.
it gets overlooked because Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan,
Yeah.
he was a pretty good Bond, and of course Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
You know,
he's the. We'll get there.
yeah.
I'll make
So,
the internet mad there probably.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as far as Bonds go, in my opinion, always has been Sean Connery. I get it. He was number one until recently, but in my opinion, he is number two.
Hmm.
We all know who number one is. We'll get there, but he was good, and he brought a toughness to it, and he still had a little bit of the goofiness. I
Yeah.
think a lot like I think Pierce Brosnan was the closest to Sean Connery in a lot of ways.
Yeah, we just watched. Which one did we watch?
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, and that's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And
I
it's
think
got-
Tomorrow Never Dies is his other. That's really it, but we'll get that one
Yeah,
too.
we'll review those here maybe next week or something.
Yeah,
But the Sean Connery ones, like Doctor No, I still think it's my favorite, and Goldfinger.
yeah. Must watches. If you're gonna ever watch a Bond, if you want to watch the best of the Sean Connery area, you got to do Doctor No, Goldfinger, and Thunderball.
Yeah.
And From Russia with Love too. I really do like that one a lot. So I did put it number 3.
Yeah, so
So
those four are probably good.
the rest of them you can forget about.
And Diamonds Are Forever, You'll Only Live Twice, and Never Say Never Again.
Again, you sleepwalk in those movies,
I
I
would
think.
say don't
And
bother.
yeah, Agreed.
But there's probably people out there that like those movies better than
Yeah, I know.
you
Probably
like.
think that
So
we're
yeah,
crazy
fair enough.
anyways. And fit George Lazenby in there. And you
Yeah.
have a good '60s era Bond. He ended the '60s, and George Lazenby.
Hmm.
And, '69, and I have to watch that one again. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for that one. That one
Yeah.
I do need to sit down and
Yeah.
watch
We
again
can watch
because I watched the trailer for it when I saw it. I was like, I got to remember some of the things in it, and I was like, oh yeah, that is the one his wife and different guy and people. I don't know why people were upset with him. I think they
I
just
don't think they were. I just don't think they wanted to cast him for another movie. I don't
yeah,
know. I'd have to look into
it's
that
kind
a
of
little
interesting.
bit. But I don't think the James Bond fans were upset with the guy. I
Yeah,
think he was a pretty good actor. And like I said, I thought it was a good movie.
I'll have
But
to sit down and watch
it's been
that
a
one.
long time since I've seen it. So I could be wrong.
So we just kind of closed out the '60s. And well, we got one in the '70s, one in the '80s there with Sean Connery and Lazenby. And we're gonna leave. We're at 31 minutes here, so we'll probably do some closing thoughts on our Sean Connery.
Yeah, one of the closing thoughts that I have, which really surprised me, was when your grandfather was staying with us
Uh-huh.
a few years ago, and he had never seen a James Bond movie.
I don't even know how that's
I
possible.
don't know how you can miss these things. And there's so many of them, and
Yeah.
they've been out there
Especially, yeah. I mean,
for
he must have really
since
liked his westerns.
the 1962,
Yeah,
all the way up to 2021.
2021 was the last one.
Yeah, No
Yeah,
Time to Die, 2021.
yeah.
And one every few years. That later on, they kind of got a little farther in between,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But
Especially when you get to like Craig, he was so busy doing other movies that there was no way he could have cranked one out every year. It was
yeah,
just he was a in demand actor. I mean, especially after Casino Royale, that his career exploded after Casino Royale.
yeah,
I mean, so he was just busier than hell. And then even Brosnan, he hit a couple. His were right in a row too. That's kind of interesting. But Sean Connery, like I said, when I was a kid, I didn't get it. Now I'm older. I'm like, okay, yeah, those are the better movies. I will. Most of them are the better
most of them, not
movies.
all.
I like more of his movies than I do Morse, and
Hmm.
I like more of his movies than I do Brosnan, but not because Brosnan did fewer. I mean, there's a couple of Brosnan movies I just don't like. He only did about four,
Yeah, he did four. Yeah,
and you can honestly watch two of those and never watch the other ones, and you're like, okay, I'm good. You'll be your favorite Bond if you watch those two.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
but you watch the other two, like oh, Jesus, these are terrible. But
Some of those Brosnan ones I've never watched, so I'm gonna have to.
yeah, we'll have to do that. Tomorrow Never Dies is the next one that we got to watch. That one's pretty good. But yeah, I love the Sean Connery ones. I'll go back to them.
Yeah,
And I will always go back to them now,
I
especially as
have
I'm
most of
older.
those on DVD. I
Do you?
bought them years ago. That there
Oh,
was a DVD set of Sean Connery
oh, no
Bonds
kidding.
and Roger Moore Bonds. I bought both,
Oh, did you?
and I have a friend of mine has the whole series on
Holy
DVD. He's
crap.
got them all.
That's
You
that's
know, big
awesome.
ass box.
I have every Craig except for the last one.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to watch one of those, they're all on Apple.
Mhm.
But I would recommend anybody sit down and watch Doctor No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, and Thunderball. Those are some of the best movies you're going to see. Period. And they're probably some of the best James Bonds you're going to see.
And amazingly, as much as I read,
Hmm.
I've never read a James Bond.
No, neither.
Ian Fleming
Yeah,
novel. I
and
don't know why. I just
his movies were all the Sean Connery movies were all based off of his books
sort
for the most part.
nah. Doctor No was. They've taken some of the stories and
Oh, did they? Okay.
Hollywooded them or screenplayed them. You know, they're not all true to the books.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, they're not.
Was it
Doctor No was pretty close, I guess, and there was some other ones. Casino Royale, I think, was.
that was pretty close. Except it was Baccarat they played in um Casino Royale, if I
Yeah,
remember.
the
Yeah,
book.
not poker, but because poker's more of the more modern.
Yeah,
We don't nobody really plays baccarat. I don't think so anymore. I don't
yeah,
even know
yeah.
if I've never seen a baccarat table in a
I've
casino
seen them in
before.
Vegas.
Have you?
Yeah, I don't know about recently, but last time I was there was
I mean,
25 years ago. So
I barely get the rules of poker. I don't think I,
Yeah.
don't even get me going on the background.
I was never a gambler, so
No,
maybe that's
same
why I
here.
like Vegas.
But yeah, that's our Sean Connery list. Comment on your thoughts on it. And well, we also threw George Lazenby in there. We kind of covered, like I said, covered the '60s,
Yeah.
one of the '70s, and one of the '80s.
Next up is Roger Moore,
Yeah,
who made how many? One, two,
he
three,
did 7 as well.
6, good 7 movies there. Yeah.
It runs into the same problems. I really do. I
Yeah,
think there was a
so,
point where he was
yeah.
just like, "All right, I'm done with this shit."
I think the writing got bad too on some of those.
Yeah,
Stories
yeah,
not that good.
yeah.
We'll talk about them.
We'll talk about those next week. Tell you it's gonna be a short episode, so it should be quick and easy for me to clean up and throw out on there.
Yeah, we get it posted, and hopefully we'll get some views,
Yeah,
some listens, because
it's James
it's
Bond.
James Bond.
Yeah, you got. I mean, if you're a guy,
You
you gotta like James Bond.
got it.
Or was it Bill Burr would always say, if you're a man and you were raised right, you gotta like James Bond.
James Bond's awesome.
He's always the best.
Yeah.
And like I said, next to maybe Star Wars, probably the biggest movie franchise in the history of movies.
I think so.
Actually, he's probably bigger.
But no, it's definitely bigger, I would think.
I mean, well, Star Wars makes more money.
Mm.
Let's be fair. I mean, was it Disney put out that episode 7? It made like $2 billion. I mean, it made an obscene amount of money. But I think overall, yeah, they might be real close. If you go by money, if you go by output, I mean, James Bond blows them all away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's all I got for this week.
Yeah, me too.
All right,
We'll put James Bond to rest for a few days.
for a few days, and we'll think about these Roger Moore ones, and we'll start with everybody needs to stop and think about Live and Let Die, and we'll start there next week. Have a good one. Thanks.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks. Bye.